Shadiya, Aidid, and I have a couple poems that I'll be sharing with you today, inshallah. Bismillah. I tried to imagine it. A superhero action flick that wasn't jam-packed with latex and heels. A leading woman who don't need no man, who is intelligent, who is of color. I tried to imagine someone who looks like me. Tenderness, being small, feeling soft and acting quiet. All traits a secondary female role would need, all traits that aren't really me. I want to see a woman who doesn't have men groveling at her feet but aspiring to be like her, inspiring little girls and boys to lead. I want her to have fight scenes that don't involve seducing men, but have her flat shoes dig into clay as she picks her enemies up and throws down some knowledge. Yeah, she doesn't necessarily have to be a fighter. Maybe she's a pacifist, an activist, a writer. I'd like to imagine a superhero that wasn't limited to kicking butt in the literal sense, but kicking it with anarchists, breaking down white supremacy, punching the face of patriarchy, and stomping on the appropriation of land. Right? The future of female heroes is not as black and white as your facts. It's not as blurred as Picasso's paintings. It's not as obtuse as Trump supporters. Nah, it's not alternative facts. The future of female heroes will have my people, my chicks, my future children, and as a hardship. I have the sake for different narratives, right? And not only for my benefit, but for the ignorant to learn as well. And I don't mean to say this in a rude way, but pick up a book, you know? Go watch something on BET to get some culture in your bones. You know, take a flight to Wakanda and instead of staring at my hijab saying, what are those? You know what I mean? My longing to see a piece of me on the screen is evolving as it surely could be a possibility. They say if it doesn't exist, write it. Well, maybe I'll write it. I'm electric with the thought of it. I can see it like a photograph in my mind. A bionic hijabi warrior princess with some real cool boots and, you know, a blue hijab or something. She doesn't have to do anything yet. Her mere existence makes her my hero. A scene in a film could go like this, right? Picture a bunch of white male archaeologists who pick up artifacts and finding history that already exists, and bionic hijabi walks right in and says, stop Columbusing this land, be gone. And later, she sends them a polite email explaining to them what she had to do, because she had to make sure that the knowledge that was dropped got picked up too. Thank you. Thank you so much. I have a couple more to read for you. So this next piece, it is called The Familiar Taste of Endangerment, and it is around, I'm sure like, I can't see anybody really. Okay, actually now I can kind of see some of your beautiful faces, mashallah. But I'm sure some of you are either immigrants or children of immigrants. Yeah, maybe, yeah. So am I. So kind of this is like an ode to our family and just the struggle of coming here and coming into a settler state. So yeah. The turtle shell sprang like a tantalizing, teasing, terrifying tarantula out of the turquoise sea, splashing her arms so she could see that the end was near. Knee deep in the sand, the beige, blubbery, bruised skin of the tourist was seen as he picked up fetal turtle shells. These eggshells by the seashore were swept up while its parents just looked on. These eggshells by the seashore were swept up while its parents just looked on. Oh, what a familiar agony this was, to see your family massacred. Again and again, through old age, the turtle saw her family massacred. Once again and again, the familiar taste of the bitter hate of the battered fist of the beige, blubbery, bruised, tore wrist was worse than the familiar taste of endangerment in the sea. It's hard to see when your family, when your familiar fertile fetus eggshell succumbs to the severed hands of the sea man. Part 2. Coming to Turtle Island is like splashing and falling and splashing and falling and splashing and drowning, only to be pushed back into the water. It is coping with the mentality of a settler state. It is seeking refuge in a space in which refuge was taken away, in which land was taken and uprooted and colonized, in which my land was taken and uprooted and colonized, in which my parents needed to leave our land that was taken and uprooted and colonized just to come into a land that was taken and uprooted and colonized. Look at how they restore the vicious cycle. Inside of a turtle shell is a mother trying to breathe some life onto some land that was never hers. How can she give birth to a child that could be taken and uprooted and colonized by the state? By legal bullets, by the pesticides they lay on your plate, by people who rape. When you take accusations back to the nation state, things just stay the same. When you take accusations back to the state, they stay veiled under hegemony and sloppy handouts and Bieber or Drake. When you take accusations back to the state, they tell you you're too pro insert race. When you take accusations back to the state, they release sexual predators, ignore black protesters, drill holes into our mother, leave indigenous homes to suffer. But when we collectively take accusations back to the nation state, be ready to push some more accusations their way. Thanks. Thank you so much. I'm going to leave you with this last poem, and I'm sure it doesn't really need an intro or introduction, but it is on, it's a poem I wrote about January 29th of last year, where we had the Quebec shooting and 6 of our brothers were murdered by white supremacists. And, you know, just to commemorate that, I have this poem that I wrote. So it's a bit heavier, but it's important to remember and to keep speaking about these things. So if you are all comfortable, I hope you are, I would love if you close your eyes while I read this. And don't worry, I'm not going to scare you. But yeah, feel free to close your eyes. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah. Ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah. Hayya ala as-salah, hayya ala al-falah. قد قامت الصلاة قد قامت الصلاة الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله. How does it feel when you are in the safest place you know? You feel the plush carpet beneath your toes, so soft yet so grounding, reminding you of home. You breathe in the old pages of the kitabs, brushed through by so many hands. You think about who was reading this last, which verse brought them to their knees, which surah were they trying to etch into their memory. You taste the presence of good people, of your sisters, of your brothers in Islam, that by you, shoulder to shoulder, you stand. You see, in this space, there is no difference between ability or creed. There is no stench of judgment, no hierarchy. This space that was made for the purpose of worship is wholeheartedly our place to find unity. How does it feel when what you've heard about your people doesn't exist in these walls? Ravenous Muslims preying on women and children, jihadist thoughts leading to extreme walks of life. How does it feel when oil is more valued than the blood of Muslims? They bleed out our countries, yet somehow paint us the villains. But when I enter a masjid, I am greeted with a smile. Assalamu alaikum. And when I exit, I am sent off with a peaceful farewell. Wa alaikum assalam. Screams of terror and bullet wounds are not peaceful farewells. It's where peace meets terrorism. Funerals shouldn't start where they begin. Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. We all ask ourselves, how could this happen here? Your answers lie within Bill 24, 62, 51. People shouldn't have to die for us to recognize the state we are in. Some days you visit the masjid unaware of a janazah taking place. They did not enter thinking this was the last place before theirs. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar.